Breaking news. Trump's fake news is actually fake. Canon dominates Sony and Nikon in the sales charts. A Nikon camera is hacked and the security concern is real. Canon is launching a 400mm lens that just got leaked. Nikon teams up with Red to release their first camera, the Nikon ZR. DJI's full-frame camera leaked, and the Leica M11V leaked. All of this and more right after I thank our sponsor, Squarespace. Head to squarespace.com/Tony when you want to set up any sort of web presence. This gets you your own custom domain name. Like I have northropphotography.com. And that means you can get your own custom email addresses. And that unlocks so much more. Now you're not dependent on social media anymore. You have your own presence on the web that can live way longer than anything else. Like I've had northrop.org since before MySpace was a thing. What will you have when Instagram and Facebook inevitably go away? If you're smart, you'll have a Squarespace. So go to squarespace.com/Tony and try out one of their many templates. See how easy it is to set up your own website, create a store, take appointments from clients, view detailed analytics. All of it starts with a completely free trial at squarespace.com/Tony. And after you love it, if you decide to sign up, the coupon code Tony gets you 10% off. Thanks for making this possible, Squarespace. First, I've talked a lot about the dangers of AI imaging, and we're starting to see some of the worst case scenarios happen. Like just these past couple of weeks, there were huge health concerns around the President of the United States, Donald Trump. Look at this widely circulated image that led millions of people to think that Donald Trump was extremely ill. The picture on the right does look like somebody who has serious problems. You can see he has some sort of odd swelling on his forehead. His skin seems flat and almost textureless. His ear is almost melting into the rest of his face. You can see the image on the left that it was based on. Somebody took that image on the left and yelled, "enhance." Or more realistically, they loaded it into something like Topaz AI that uses AI to just sort of make up details. But if we look closer, we can see just how bad AI is at doing this job. Look at the flag on the side of his hat. You can see in the original image, there's a blue field because it's the flag of the United States of America. AI doesn't seem to understand American flags, so it just made it all red stripes. It's ridiculous. And look at the S on his hat. Why did it suddenly put red, white, and blue stripes in the S when there's nothing like that in the original picture? Because right now, this sort of upscaling doesn't work well. But it will never work well. Because garbage in, garbage out. You cannot make accurate information out of no data. You can take a guess. You can make something that looks like a real picture. Indeed, it does look like a real picture of a person who has very serious problems. But it's fake. It's making up information. The public is not discerning enough to understand this. This became huge worldwide news for two reasons. One, the public is not educated enough to discern fake images, even though it said enhanced photo right above it. But two, a lot of people don't like Donald Trump, and thus their natural inclination is to believe anything negative about him rather than really examining it. And I encourage you, if when you see information on the web that aligns with your views, that makes you feel kind of good, double down on your research. Acknowledge that your own inclination is going to be to accept something without checking it out thoroughly. Examine it as if you disagreed with it and you did not want it to be true. Now let's talk about the last 4 years of camera sales so we can see who's actually winning. So first, let's take a look at mirrorless cameras, which are the more modern versions of cameras. Over the last 4 years, that red line there is Canon. The vertical axis here is millions of cameras sold. So Canon is selling about 2 million cameras in 2023 and 2024, while Sony is pretty significantly behind at like 1.5, 1.6 million mirrorless cameras. But if we look at Nikon, OM, Panasonic, Fuji, they're all way down. This is really a race with two horses. Nikon is gaining a little bit of momentum, but not that much. Now let's take a look at DSLRs. Canon is still selling a substantial number of DSLRs, but that number is less than 1 million now, so it's dwarfed by the number of mirrorless camera sales. Nikon has almost completely stopped selling DSLRs. So if we add these up, and we look at the total camera sales, the winner is clear. It's clearly Canon. They're outselling Fuji and Nikon by like 3 times. And they're outselling Sony by like 75%. If you're a Canon shooter, congratulations. More bad news for Nikon. Nikon has been supporting the Content Authenticity Initiative by building content credential systems into their latest cameras. How this works is a camera like the Nikon Z6 III will take a picture and then use cryptography to digitally sign it. And that really guarantees that that image has not been modified, that it is a real image. And we need this now more than ever when we have pictures like that Donald Trump picture, which are completely fake. But it's very important that we be able to trust those digital signatures. And Nikon had a security problem that completely violated that trust. A user by the name of Horshack figured out that he could take a picture with a camera that didn't support that tech, an older Nikon Z6 III, for example, move that memory card into a new Z6 III that did support that tech, and then configure that Z6 III to use multiple exposures where 2 images would be stacked. The Z6 III would just sign that as if it was an authentic image, when indeed it is not an authentic image. The image could be anything, not just a picture taken by the camera, but something made in Photoshop that was just loaded into the shell of a RAW file. This is huge. This completely undermines the entire Content Authenticity Initiative. It also reveals that Nikon, but probably all the Japanese camera companies, are not ready to develop software that can be secure. As a former software developer specializing in security, I wrote 20 books on the topic. You require special software development processes. Nikon clearly does not have these processes in place. They do not have the testing, the quality assurance, the vulnerability assessments. None of that is in place, or this very basic hack would not have worked. This is not a buffer overflow problem or something more complex. This is something any user could do by just using the menu systems. It's scary because vulnerabilities like this will lead to false images being authenticated. It will lead to people trusting fake images. Authenticated images can't be trusted at that point, and the entire system, everything they built, is worthless. So Nikon, get your act together. And everybody else, don't make the same mistake. Hire real security people who know how to develop secure software. And more importantly, move your entire camera platform over to a more sophisticated operating system, because it's time. Canon leaked their 400mm f2.8 with a 1.4 teleconverter, according to Sony Alpha rumors. Now, this isn't a confident rumor, but I also totally believe this. Nikon has kind of leaked their first collaboration with Red. As you recall, last year, they sort of merged with Red Cinema cameras. Really, now we have more rumors about an upcoming DJI camera from mirrorlessrumors.com, and I totally expect DJI to compete with the likes of Canon, Nikon, and Sony, and very well take over that industry because of their superior software capabilities. They're saying that DJI might be joining the L-mount alliance. Their first entry into this will be a video-centric camera, sort of competing with Sony's FX3. It will have a viewfinder, but sort of in the corner, like a rangefinder, kind of like you see in the A7C series of cameras. But it will have the menu system of the Hasselblad, which is definitely by far the best user interface in the industry, and probably also the other great tech, like internal storage, fast Wi-Fi. And if you don't already know, DJI owns a huge chunk of Hasselblad, and while Hasselblad cameras are still very much made in Sweden and they maintain that heritage, the two companies are pretty able to share tech. So it's going to be pretty cool to see what a Chinese company with all their software development skills merged with the optical experience of Hasselblad. What will that competition be like? And I think it could overturn the entire industry. There's also some vague rumors from Sony Alpha Rumors that a Sony FX8, another cinema camera, might be coming, but we don't have many details of that now. And the Nikon ZF is finally launched in silver, which I thought they should have done in the first place. I think that's much more handsome than the original ZF. And finally, one more rumor from Mirrorless Rumors. Leica is launching an M11V. This is their rangefinder cameras, but this one doesn't have a proper rangefinder viewfinder. Instead, it will have a clean front, and it will have an electronic version of a rangefinder. Now, this finally gives Leica shooters with the M mount a what you see is what you get experience. So if they're shooting in black and white, they will see black and white in the viewfinder. It means using the rear screen and using the viewfinder provides a single experience, but it gives up what I love most about the Leica M cameras, which is that analog experience, the real rangefinder focusing, being able to see a little bit wider than your lens. I wouldn't pick this. I use a totally analog M10D still, but this is going to be right for some people, and Leica is generous for offering as many options as possible, so I can't wait to give that a review. Subscribe to see that. Like the other M11s, it should be 60 megapixels. It'll have internal storage, thank you, and the EVF should be a pretty high quality 5.76 million dots with reasonable magnification. In the comments down below, let me know which of these you're excited about. And don't forget to check out our sponsor, Squarespace. Squarespace.com/Tony starts you on your journey of creating a real web presence where you're not dependent on social media, where you can set up a store and sell anything instead of just the things Instagram lets you sell. When I started selling my own workshops, I just went onto Squarespace, and they had templates for creating pages to sell workshops. The store connected automatically to my Stripe account, so when somebody bought a place in the workshop, I just got the money. I literally set the whole thing up in a few minutes on this website that I'd had for 15 years. And that's the power of Squarespace. They're always working behind the scenes to keep things up to date, to add new features, to give you all the things you need to do whatever you can imagine on the web. Don't believe me, just check it out for yourself. No obligation, no credit card required. Go to squarespace.com/Tony. Start your free trial, browse their templates. When you love it, the coupon code Tony will get you 10% off. Thank you, Squarespace.